Hi, this is Chris Castle with MLC CAD Systems. Today I'm talking about another one of my favorite myCAD tools called LayerManager. Now, at first glance, LayerManager isn't very sexy. It's not something very exciting, especially when you think of layers, you think of drawings, and you think of old school AutoCAD and managing layers there. But LayerManager makes it so easy to help you repair layers that may have been damaged in previous drawings and to quickly add those layers to new documents that you're going to make. And one thing to keep in mind is that when you're working with sheet metal parts and you're doing sheet metal drawings, layers are still very important when you do your export to DXF or DWG, especially when you're giving those to people that are going to make your sheet metal parts. So let's get started and show you exactly what LayerManager can do. It's simple, it's quick, and we'll go into a demonstration right away. Let's start with a simple drawing of a single part to help you understand what layers do exactly. Before we actually show you the LayerManager tool, I want to help you understand what layers do exactly. If I right click up here in the command manager and turn on my layer toolbar, this is the way SolidWorks currently manages layers. It's very simplistic. Layers, for those who don't understand them, are just a way of categorizing and grouping certain aspects of your drawing into areas that can be either turned on visually or changed, have different colors, things like that. In this particular case, we have a drawing that somebody actually made the point of making layers manually. For example, there's a dimension layer. Okay, a center mark layer as well. But these are all, if you click on the properties, you can see these are all manually created, okay? And things like colors, whether or not they're turned on or off, are controlled really easily with this tool currently in SolidWorks. Now, how do you actually assign a layer to something? Well, if you click on anything in particular in SolidWorks drawings, there is an other tab in the property manager and you can assign a layer to it. Now, for example, I clicked on a dimension and it was associated with dimension. I want to point out something very important to you. Just because it's called dimension layer doesn't mean that SolidWorks automatically associated this with that layer. That was a manual selection, okay? Now, all sorts of things can be assigned to layers. For example, if I click on any like a center mark or any sort of reference geometry, things like that, you can see that they were manually assigned to those layers, okay? Even the title block, for example, could be associated with the layer. Now, that's all great if you have the patience to do that, but the LayerManager tool can help you automatically create all those things and assign colors and things like that to it. So under the Utilities pull-down menu, you go to LayerManager, and now here you go, the LayerManager tool available with myCADtools. It is pretty revolutionary because it automatically creates layers based off annotations, dimensions, callouts, weld symbols, and so on. All these things, they're already SolidWorks properties, are given layer names. Now, it just happens to be that we name the layer name for annotation. We call that note, dimensions, and so on. You can change this to whatever you want, all right? And for this simple part, we're gonna show you just real quick and simple how you could take something you've never had layers and assign them real quickly. In this case, you remember we have one called dimension already, so this is just gonna kind of merge any new dimensions that we may have added, okay? And for example, balloons, there's no balloons in this case, but if there were, they would automatically be associated with this category here, okay? So I'll go ahead and hit launch, and you'll see that some things have changed in the background. So what happened was, if you remember, our notes layer was red and the original note layer was just blue. It can override colors and whether things are turned on or not. So once you've assigned it, you can continue to use your layer toolbar to manage simple things like, are the notes shown or are they turned on or off, you know, what the colors are. If I want to change that back to a particular color like blue, I can, okay. But the point of the LayerManager is it's going to help you establish layers to begin with and assign things that maybe you never considered. So that's just a simple single drawing. Let's move on to a more complex part. This time let's take a look at an assembly drawing. In this case, we also have a very limited set of existing layers in this document. Okay, so we're going to use LayerManager one more time to not only assign new layers, but also to show you something that's really cool. It's probably my favorite little feature of when you're working with assemblies. I have an assembly drawing here with a cutaway and this exploded view. Well, with LayerManager, you can assign colors to each one of these components. And it's unfortunately, it's random. The colors that are used are random, but they're pretty good. You can always change them. But the way you do that is, you know, just like I showed you before, you assign which layers you want to have created, you know, just by toggling this. If you toggle this option at the bottom, there's two options. For all parts basically means that you will assign a property or a layer to each individual component in the assembly drawing. Okay, this option affects the entire assembly, so it's probably not what you want. Okay, now just as is, it will create colors and assign layers to all these parts. But you could also filter things out. For example, if I click on this option here, I could filter out based off custom properties which parts I want to apply those layers or those colors to. In this case, I'll just leave it as is. I'll turn that option off just to show you here. If I hit launch, you can see in the background here, the myCADtools Layer Manager will start to apply those colors and those layer changes that I asked, and you can see the effect of it there. My BOM is changed, my colors have been assigned here, and you can see that that's working pretty well. Again, if you don't like the color, you can always click on the part, okay, right click it, go to change layer, okay, and you can see here that my Layer Manager actually created a layer for each one of those parts. How cool is that, right? So if I want to, I could just change the color here, and there you go. So I love this tool. I love this little functionality. I think you will too. Again, something you cannot currently do just with SolidWorks, but with the myCADtools suite and Layer Manager, the sky's the limit when it comes to managing layers. If you have any questions on this tool, please don't hesitate to call us or email us at solidworksupport@mlc-cad.com. We appreciate your time, and we hope you have a great day.